everyone, this is the Science Chick and welcome to my video. Again, I would like to apologize for not posting on time of the schedule. I don't know what's going on here, but the devil works hard, but I work harder, so I will be posting my videos still. They might not be exactly as I planned on my schedule, but each topic will be covered during these 5 weeks. So don't worry, things will get posted, but I might have to either squish some videos together like I'm doing today, or post them all at once at one day. We'll see how the network gods help us, but again, I thank you so much for everyone who is still here and still watching, and I promise I will always post no matter what. So today's video will be the last part of the human reproduction section of your exam for paper 1. As I said at the beginning of this section counts 27% of your overall paper 1, so it is a huge chunk of your paper 1. So I would suggest looking at my videos, but also really making in-depth notes for yourself that will help you study. Today I'll be discussing the menstrual cycle as well as implantation and fertilization. Today we'll be talking about the ovarian cycle, the uterine cycle, hormone changes in the menstrual cycle, the negative feedback mechanism between progesterone and FSH, the fertilization and development of zygotes to blastocysts, the implantation of blastocysts, as well as gestation. Menstruation is the loss of blood and tissue as a result of changes that occur in the lining of the uterus. The menstrual cycle refers to changes that occur in the ovaries and the uterus of a woman over a period of 28 days. This cycle begins at puberty and ends at menopause. The menstrual cycle is made out of 2 separate cycles that happen at the same time. These cycles are the ovarian cycle and the uterine cycle. The ovarian cycle refers to the development and release of an ovum. This takes place inside the ovary. The ovarian cycle begins when FSH, also known as follicle stimulating hormone, is released from the pituitary gland. FSH is transported to the ovary by the blood. The ovarian cycle occurs as the following. FSH stimulates primary follicles to become Hafel follicles, which contain the mature ovum. The Hafel follicles develop and produce a hormone called estrogen, increasing the levels of estrogen in the blood. Around the 14th day, the Hafel follicles rupture, resulting in the release of the ovum in a process called ovulation. Ovulation is stimulated by the luteinizing hormone, LH, which is released by the pituitary gland. LH causes the rupture of the Hafel follicles to change into a structure called the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secretes a hormone called progesterone, increasing the progesterone levels in the blood. If fertilization does not take place, the corpus luteum shrinks down and starts producing progesterone. The ovum then passes down the fallopian tubes, enters the uterus, and leaves the body through menstruation. It is important to note, however, if fertilization does happen, the corpus luteum stays active and continues to produce progesterone. It's also important to note that the progesterone and the estrogen produced in the ovaries during the ovarian cycle influence the uterine cycle. The uterine cycle shows the changes that occur in the uterus wall as it gradually thickens and becomes more vascular over the period of 28 days. As this figure shows, the uterine cycle takes place as the following. The endometrium breaks down and is released. This is menstruation. This lasts for about 4 to 7 days. The endometrium is stimulated by estrogen to become thicker and develop more blood vessels and glands. Progesterone stimulates the endometrium to become even thicker and develop more blood vessels and glands. This happens in the preparation for a possible implantation of a fertilized ovum. If fertilization does not happen, the endometrium tears away, resulting in menstruation. The following table summarizes the changes in the ovarian and uterine cycle. Note within the table how the activities that happen in the ovary affects the activities that happen in the uterus. As you've been seeing during these two cycles, the menstrual cycle is highly controlled by hormones. The ovarian cycle is influenced by FSH and LH, where the uterine cycle is influenced by estrogen and progesterone. The levels of hormones change during different stages of the menstrual cycle and have influence on one another. So if we put the ovarian and uterine cycle together and compare the hormone changes with a graph, we can see the hormonal change that takes place within each cycle. The hormonal control of the menstrual cycle takes place as the following. FSH is released by the pituitary gland, stimulating the development and the maturity of the primary follicles in one of the ovaries. As the follicle develops into a mature Hawthorne follicles, it releases estrogen. The increased estrogen level stimulates the pituitary gland to release LH. The increased levels of LH causes ovulation to occur. After ovulation occurs, the Hawthorne follicles is changed into a corpus luteum secreting progesterone. The increased amount of progesterone prevents the release of FSH and LH. As the corpus luteum breaks down, the levels of progesterone decreases, resulting in the endometrium to break down. The endometrium, as well as the unfertilized ovum, are released through the vagina as blood during menstruation. Due to the decrease in progesterone, FSH and LH are no longer inhibited. They are produced by the pituitary gland and the cycle begins again. A negative feedback system occurs in the menstrual cycle. A negative feedback mechanism is an interaction between two hormones, where an increase in one hormone stimulates a decrease in another, restoring balance. The feedback system can be seen as a hormonal control of the menstrual cycle, where progesterone affects the stimulation of FSH. If the ovum is fertilized, the corpus luteum remains active and continues to secrete progesterone. Increased level of progesterone inhibits the stimulation of FSH. As a result, no further development of follicles occurs and ovulation does not take place. However, if fertilization does not happen, the corpus luteum will disintegrate and the level of progesterone will decrease. This will stimulate the pituitary gland to release more FSH, and follicle production and development will occur again. During copulation, also known as intercourse, the penis is inserted into the vagina and sperm cells are released through ejaculation close to the cervix. The sperm cell swims through the cervix up into the uterus and through the fallopian tubes. The haploid ovum released through ovulation enters the fallopian tube. If the ovum is present in the fallopian tube, one sperm cell may penetrate through the jelly layer and fertilize the ovum, resulting in a diploid zygote. The nucleus of the ovum and the nucleus of the sperm cell thus fuse during fertilization. The zygote develops through mitosis as it moves down the fallopian tube towards the uterus. Mitosis occurs and a solid ball of cells, also known as the morula, is formed. The morula develops into a hollow, fluid-filled ball of cells called a blastocyst. Once the ovum is fertilized, it takes about 5 days for the formation of a blastocyst to occur. The blastocyst moves from the fallopian tube into the uterus, where it's embedded itself into the endometrium. This is known as implantation and takes place as the following. The outer cells of the blastocyst secretes enzymes which break down a small portion of the thickened uterine wall, causing it to soften. The blastocyst sinks itself into this softened area, and the outer layer develops into two extra embryotic membranes, also known as the amnion and the chorion. The chorion extends finger-like outgrowths called the chorion villi into the endometrium and forms part of the placenta, which secretes progesterone. The blastocyst now is the embryo. The gestation period, also known as pregnancy, is the time in which the embryo develops inside the uterus. Gestation and the development of the embryo lasts for about 14 weeks or 280 days. After 12 weeks, the embryo is known as a fetus. The fetus contains extra embryotic membranes and other structures which aid in the development of the embryo. And these can be seen in the following figure. The choanoid, which is on the outside, forms choanotic valleys. The inner layer, which is the ambion, becomes filled with amniotic fluid to form the amniotic sac. The amniotic fluid has the following functions. It protects the fetus against machinal injury, it prevents dehydration, it maintains the temperature of the fetus, and it allows for free movement of the fetus as it grows and develops. During development, the development of the umbilical cord also occurs. The umbilical cord attaches the fetus to the placenta and consists of umbilical blood vessels. These umbilical blood vessels are two umbilical arteries which carry deoxygenized blood and waste products from the fetus to the placenta, and one umbilical vein which carries oxygenized blood, nutrients, water, and other substances to the placenta, from the placenta to the fetus. The placenta is a temporary organ that forms in the area where the blastocyst implants. It allows for substances to be transported by diffusion between the mother to the fetus without any blood being directly contacted. This means that the mother and the fetus blood never actually mix. The placenta has the following functions. It is the point of attachment for the fetus to the mother. It allows for diffusion of nutrients from the mother to the fetus. It allows for the diffusion of oxygen from the mother to the fetus and the diffusion of carbon dioxide from the fetus to the mother. It allows for the diffusion of waste products from the fetus to the mother, and after 12 weeks, the placenta secretes progesterone to maintain the pregnancy. Wow, so this was a way longer video than my normal videos, but we are finally at the end of the human reproduction section. Yay! Woohoo! You did it, guys. This is the largest section, one of the largest section of your paper one, so it is a lot to handle. So other resources, I will link them in this video. I will link them in my community tab just to help you a bit. As I say in the beginning, all figures, diagrams, and tables shown during this presentation are or will be in my Google Doc. I've noticed that it's still on private, so I will make it a public Google Doc. But I hope this was helpful. Again, let me know if this format is working for you guys. If you need something more different, let me know. But yet again, thank you so much and see you soon. Bye.